welcome to Apollo City Comics. I'm Brandon,
I'm David.
and we're here today checking out the Umbrella Academy, Volume 1, Apocalypse Suite.
The Apocalypse Suite.
Yes. Gerard Way's, I'm not too sure if this did come out before Killjoys. Gerard Way's and a vocalist from My Chemical Romance.
Yeah.
And he was always into comics. He used to be an art student, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
And he was really into drawing, but somehow he turned into writing comics instead of drawing them. He just kind of came up with the concepts.
How interesting.
And then we have, it's Gabriel Ba, who is Fabio Moon's brother. They teamed up on a book called Day Tripper, which I heard was amazing. I gotta check that one out.
I feel like I saw that when it was out in stores.
Yeah, it's a good book. It's been out for a while. I think it got some rewards, but it's really what got them both recognition.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a Brazilian artist. Nice guys. I've met them both.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And you met Gerard Way at a comic thing,
Comic-Con,
You didn't go to My Chemical
No,
Romance show?
I didn't go to My Chemical Romance show. No, I met him my first year at Comic-Con at my second panel I've ever gone to.
Oh, wow.
And he was doing one when he signed on to DC Comics to do the Young Animal imprint.
Okay.
And I rushed the stage once it ended. He gave me a poster that he was demonstrating, and it's all signed in like a blacklight ink.
Wow.
So when you put it into the light, you could see all the signatures.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's super cool. And that poster was only at that panel.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a cool snag. It's a cool snag. But I was just like, hey, do you have any more of these posters to give out? He's like, yeah, you can just take this one. And I was like, can you sign my book? And he was like, yeah. He just does like an XOXO for a signature. It's funny.
That is interesting.
It is interesting.
And that's on your trade one.
My trade one. It's not out right now. Or else it'd be here. But the next episode we're doing this, we're gonna have some killer books in the background.
I'm excited.
There's 3 volumes of this series. The third one's being released right now, and it's now becoming a Netflix TV show.
Yeah.
Which we're gonna watch the trailer and comment on it at the end of the talk here.
Do a little comparison.
Let's see. Gerard Way also has solo music coming out.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah. The album, his solo album's honestly better than some of the other stuff I've heard.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's really cool. Let's see. He wrote Doom Patrol for Young Animal.
Okay.
Which is also pretty cool because Doom Patrol is coming out soon, and
cool little connection there.
Yeah, nice little connection there. I don't know. The intros of the graphic novels have introductions by Neil Gaiman and Grant Morrison, 2 of my favorite writers in the world. And so just knowing how much they praise this book is why I was like, all right, I'm going to give it a chance. I'm going to check out Gerard's work. And I had fun.
So they're both big fans of it then?
Yeah, they're both really big fans of it. Yeah.
That's interesting. I don't think the book's bad or anything. I feel like I'm coming off as indifferent right now. I think it's good too. I think
it's fun.
It's interesting characters. It's definitely like you can feel the influences from different things maybe, but it's very much an original story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought the concept was super cool. Behind the villain and the end of the world, the Apocalypse Suite, I thought. And at first I was like, oh, it's because he's a musician. But I mean, either way, musician or not, I love the music little
music stuff in it.
Yeah. The Vivaldi stuff and everything they mentioned and everything.
Cool.
As a music nerd, that was always super enlightening. You know what I mean? But I thought it was a great concept. I thought the characters were real interesting. I thought the way he banded them together, a lot of fun. Tell us about your adventure.
Well, let's go back to the beginning. So the story is it starts off in issue 1 with 7. Well, it's more than 7 babies. I want to say they said it was 43 or something.
Yeah.
One day at the same time, 43 women all gave birth to these babies,
and with no
signs of pregnancy. It just showed up and they had these children. But then some of them were killed or didn't live, which this part to me seemed a little weird.
Yeah.
That 7 are alive? You're telling me that these women killed 37, 38 babies or whatever?
Yeah. They just didn't survive.
However much it was? 36? How do you kill 36 babies?
That's something I was looking into. And even reading this story, and now that we're dipping more into volume 2, the questions still hang. But there's a lot of things that are brought up that aren't explained.
Yeah, and I'm kind of hoping that they will be. Maybe it's just later in the future we'll learn, oh, this is what it is. And just to put it in perspective, I've read all of the first volume, I guess, collection, the first story. And I've read halfway through the second story, Dallas. Dallas is completed. There's that other one coming out, like you were saying. So maybe some of the questions are answered, and we just don't know yet. But I thought that was an interesting thing right at the beginning.
Yeah.
That they basically say out of these 43 spontaneous children, that 7 are left, and they all end up kind of having this superpower. And this is where like the X-Men kind of feel comes in. Definitely. There's this guy named Sir Reginald.
Which is also kind of funny because the guy from Doom Patrol is real kind of similar on how we just like brought these kids together and like trained them and watched them and helped them.
So they definitely are similar stories.
Yeah.
This guy brings them in and has like a school for them essentially. Very, very X-Men. And then
and I don't even know if I could call it a school yet. Like it's called the Umbrella Academy, but it seems like he just was raising them and
that's true.
Kind of training them in that sense.
It wasn't a school in the sense that it is an X-Men. Like in X-Men, the kids are getting an education.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, they're also training, but also they're learning about like history or whatever. Mm-hmm. And this one, you're right. It seems more like
he's like a dad, but he's
like a drill sergeant or something.
Yeah.
Immediately, he realizes that they're powerful, that they're going to play an important role, so he decides to train them, and they become like a young team of superheroes for a while as children, and that's where the story starts off. But that's really just for the introduction.
Yeah,
we jump ahead in the future a lot, but
like 20 years we jump, right?
Something like that.
20 or 30 years.
It might be. I wish I had written down how much it was, but they're kids around. Well, the little boy is 10. 5.
There you go. Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So we know he's 5, so they're all 5 because I'm sorry. We know that 5 is 10, so they're all 10 years old because they're the exact same age.
Yeah,
and then I would say they're in their 20s,
maybe
somewhere, maybe older.
Yeah,
it's kind of hard to tell, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I would say it's been anywhere between 15 to 20 years.
Yeah,
it's been a little bit. I'm trying to see.
It tells
if
you on
there's
one of the
anything
pages
else
when they jump forward in time right away in the first issue. Yeah.
Oh, the big thing in the first issue is we kind of have them stopping their first big crime event.
Yeah.
There's like people who are throwing themselves off the Eiffel Tower, and they find out that like the Eiffel Tower's turned like evil or something.
It's an alien.
It's an alien, and then it's a spaceship or something.
Yeah.
Then the Eiffel Tower's like taking off.
Yeah.
It's such a bizarre way to start off a story, like
even then,
a comic book.
The way they introduce Sir Reginald, I love how like they have that one line, the televator, the elevator, or how his inventions of everything and super crisp cereals. It gives his background of all the unique things you've done.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how the first page is something with an atomic knee to like the squid Lovecraftian creature right away. Yeah.
That's right. And that's how they're born, right? It was like some weird thing. Like they were like in that moment when he like pile drive this squid monster.
Yeah. And
the babies were born.
Then you just see these kids flying, in Paris.
And what's funny too is the little kids, they all have like little Robin masks on.
Yeah.
Like kind of like this mask that we have back here.
That domino mask is an Umbrella Academy
mask. That is it. Okay, that's hilarious. That makes so much more sense.
We should have worn those. Next episode was for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, but and then we both wear glasses, so it'll be like really hard.
Funny. Yeah. Really uncomfortable.
Why don't you tell us who the characters are? Let's get through the 7 kids just so we can establish this.
So there's Space Boy. He's number 1, and then there's Vanya, who's
number 7.
Number 7, just the regular basic girl. Apparently, she's not special at all.
But she really is.
She really is.
We'll get into that. The one thing about that, in the beginning of the story, you see that Reginald is like very hard on the kids.
Mm-hmm.
And similar to like, I guess, not as like intense, but kind of like what Big Barda and Miracle were going through in the last book, where their like upbringing isn't easy.
Oh yeah.
They're like facing constant adversity.
Mm-hmm.
Well, like in the first like couple pages, they have a discussion with Vanya, and Reginald's like, yeah, you're talentless. You can't do anything. You're not good for anything. Mm-hmm. She's like up in the spaceship while everyone else is fighting or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's a little too like, oh, she's the bad guy.
I can see that right away.
Not to get into like spoilers or anything, but it's like, oh, the alienated child, she's the bad guy.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, that's why she turns evil.
Yeah.
She's pissed.
It was so early and so like, oh, all you can do is play the violin. I wanted to be like, hey man, violin takes a lot of practice. Yeah. Especially at 10 years old, being a successful little player. That's talent. But anyway.
Talent. That's discipline.
Okay, what else do we got here? We got Space Boy, Vanya.
Kraken, who's number 2.
Okay.
And then I want to say either Rumor or Seance is number 3. I forget.
And you know what? I was having this issue too where I was like, which numbers? Which? Yeah, I'm not sure which one Seance is.
Number 5 is what's his face? The kid. It's just called the boy, right?
The boy. I don't know if we get his name. But he's usually referred to as 5, whereas a lot of these other ones, they drop the number as the name.
Exactly. Yeah. Too much Kids Next Door, so they had to drop.
Oh, interesting. I mean? Yeah, I forgot about Kids Next Door.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought about.
That's really funny.
Well, Space Boy in general, I thought was a cool concept.
Yeah, Space Boy.
I thought that was cool, and I mean, but I will get into that later. His design, just a gorilla body, and then it just has his head, and apparently there was an accident and all that.
Yeah,
so
that's pretty hilarious.
Pretty cool. I'm interested to see how we follow up on that backstory. The Kraken, number 2, he's the crime fighter. He's like the Batman of the group.
That's right. And he's like edgy.
Yeah, super edgy.
He's super edgy. Whoa, bro, calm down.
Calm down.
Yeah.
And then Rumor, she has a kid and a husband, and they got divorced, right? We find out, and then her and Space Boy share a kiss later.
Yeah, before other things happen, but we'll get into that too. Yeah.
And then Seance, who's like the druggy hippie of the group. I don't think he was fleshed out as much as the other characters.
No, and to be honest, I don't know if any of the characters were like incredibly fleshed out in the first. Like, I think 5, you probably get the most understanding of his story.
I would say 5 and 1.
Yeah. And maybe like 7, obviously Vanya. Well, not obviously because you're listening to this right now, but Vanya ends up being kind of a focal point of the story. Although we really don't understand like the extent of her powers or exactly why it's happened. It kind of just happens.
Yeah, pretty much.
Before I get ahead of myself, though, who else do we have? We're missing someone, right?
We're missing the horror, number 6. Yeah. And he's dead. We don't know how he died or anything, but he looks awesome. We see him as a kid fighting because he has like the tentacles coming out of his lower body, and then his monument, his grave, is just something coming out of his chest, and it looks like clouds, like something's coming out of him, you know? But he dies, and we don't know why. It's never brought back up.
That's true.
Maybe it's brought up in Hotel Oblivion, but
we'll have to get to it on our next one,
But that's the team. Yeah, Space Boy, Vanya, number 5, Seance, Rumor, Kraken, and the horror. Rumor was pretty fleshed out.
I would say so too. That's true. That's true.
And then we have Pogo,
the
monkey. And I thought, at first it kind of threw me off reading the first volume because it was just like, is Pogo special and he's the only talking monkey? But then you see monkey police and everything too.
That's true. Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
When I first saw it, I was like, okay, one of these kids turns into a monkey? I got really confused for a second.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay,
exactly.
no, this is a character.
Yeah.
But you're right. Yeah, and there are more talking monkeys. So we live in a weird kind of like unusual world.
Yeah.
It's not in the future, but it's also not. It's just like an alternate universe or something.
Yeah,
it is Earth, I guess, but not the one that we know. There's definitely some extra stuff to it.
I feel like it takes place in the 80s. I feel like I heard that somewhere.
It might.
I could be wrong.
Well,
I feel like it does.
It wasn't until around issue 3 that it like really sunk into me, but they also have kind of a classic aesthetic in the book and in the art style. And a lot of it, and maybe not so much the characters, but the background and the setting reminded me a lot of like Batman animated series.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
Where you're trying to like Batman animated series seems like it could be in like the 40s or something, or the 50s. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. There's all these classic cars, and in issue 3 there's like this old taxi that's driving by, and it looks like straight out of animated series.
Oh, nice.
It's got this like, I don't know, long kind of classic look. Everything in animated series is
just
long.
Stretched out.
Super stretched out. So it sort of reminds me of that. But I'm not sure exactly what time. I think it's purposely ambiguous. We do know that 10 had some hand in the JFK assassination,
5,
which comes, or 5, I'm sorry. I keep saying weird numbers. Yeah, 5.
I was like,
whoa.
I missed a chunk.
Man, you're jumping ahead. All right, so we have that in the first issue. We kind of just see them as kids, see them fight, and then at the end, we have like a time jump.
Yeah.
And issue 2, or at the end of issue 1, we find out that Reginald is dead, and this is kind of the event that brings everyone.
And Reginald's interesting because we know about him because all of his achievements are kind of highlighted at first.
Yeah.
And we hear that. We see him talk to Vanya, and we're kind of like, this guy's kind of a jerk, you know what I mean? And you hear, like, he never loved us, why do you think, and blah, blah, blah.
Especially the Batman guy.
Yeah, especially Kraken. But something they haven't touched back up on is that in the first few pages, it says that he's an alien.
That's true.
Yeah, and it shows his face like just like draped over like a trash can, and I'm really curious. I mean, it brings a lot of questions. The book to me brings more questions than it does answers.
Especially at the beginning, they really throw you in and toss a lot of info at you. It's going to be interesting to see whether or not he ties it all up, or if it ends up just kind of being like purposefully ambiguous, which wouldn't be as exciting, I think.
Yeah, and I hope not.
Yeah, I hope not either.
There was an interview they were talking about since they have the Netflix show, they have to kind of show them all their plans, and they have up to 7 or 8 volumes planned.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
that's good.
And so that gave me a lot of like hope and just like, wow, you could really flesh out. They have 3 storylines right away, like stuff with Reginald. They have stuff with number 6, the horror. And it's, volume 3 is Hotel Oblivion. You only see the hotel mentioned once so far, and it's in issue 3. And Space Boy says something to the extent of like, oh, well, Father always said that once you're in the hotel, there's no escaping it. So, yeah. That was
that's right.
Yeah. Because they're talking about Terminal. And I thought that was a cool villain name. What a creepy, like, messed up villain. Terminal. Terminal. He has cancer and he knows he's going to die. And he just like...
They have some really cool villains show up in the first book. A lot of really creative character designs in general.
Yeah.
Which I think is a huge plus.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. That's good stuff.
And I mean, I was really curious how they're going to reveal Space Boy's body in the show.
I think... I definitely want to comment more about that when we watch the
trailer.
The trailer together.
I haven't really seen the trailer, so it's gonna be interesting.
I watched it, and and while reading the book too, that was something I was trying to keep in mind, that I don't know how well some of these characters are going to translate into a TV show, because sometimes stuff doesn't just translate well. Period.
Yeah.
And some of the character designs in this book are like way out there, really.
Yeah.
In the second issue, you find the mom.
Oh, yeah, the mom.
Which is really like a science dummy.
Yeah.
It's one of those
the
models,
organs, like,
but it talks.
Yeah.
And they have it dressed up like a normal person, but then it like falls over, and then you see that it's like an organ model that you would find at a doctor's office or something.
For medical students or something, yeah.
Really weird. Yeah. You know what I mean? So strange, and it's cool.
Like, what's her connection to Reginald?
What's her story?
What's her story?
It's so confusing. It just gives you this stuff, and you're expected to kind of just like deal with it. And to me, it kind of reminds me of like Lost, like the TV show Lost. Lost tossed a bunch of stuff at you in the early seasons. You're like, what? A polar bear is on the island? Like, what's going on with this hatch? You got to put these numbers in every hour or whatever, and then you're expected. You're in it because you want to see how it pays off.
Yeah, exactly.
But what got people upset in Lost is that it necessarily didn't pay off. You know what I mean? A bunch of it was like never answered. So I think that's kind of where Umbrella Academy's at right now. There's so much intrigue and it's all very interesting.
Yeah.
But you won't really know how good it is until it's done, or at least until some of this is like kind of caught up.
Yeah, like maybe the third or fourth volume. Maybe not even the third, maybe the 4th or 5th volume will get some strong answers.
I'm excited to read the rest of it and see what's going on.
The robots in issue 1 and 2 that come into it, that Terminal releases now that they're back together. Really cool Doctor Who references to the Daleks.
Yeah. And you can even hear like the way they talk. Yeah. Like when you read it on the page, it seems like Doctor Who for sure. And I even wrote that in here.
That is what's cool. These people really do have voices, and you could kind of pull each one apart, and all the characters are just fun. I mean, that's like the best thing I could say for this whole book. It's just fun.
It's good writing. It's boring when you read a comic book and all the characters kind of sound the same. You know what I mean? Yeah. It seems like, this is clearly written by one person.
Yeah.
Actually, one of my biggest gripes with Walking Dead is sometimes you could take a random quote from different characters and not necessarily know who's saying what. Yeah. They don't have their own like vernacular, I guess. But yeah, you're right. This book really, they all have individual kind of like rhythm and pacing and everything. That's really enjoyable about it. Yeah, they feel individual, the characters. Let me see here. So the robots show up when they come back together. They join back together because Reginald's dead, so they all go for a funeral.
Yeah.
Which is funny because it's sort of like how Watchmen starts off. All the Watchmen come back together because of a funeral.
There you go.
And I don't want to get into some spoilers, but like Haunting of Hill House has a very similar scene, which is like a Netflix series that just came out in October, which is fantastic, by the way. You need to check that out, dude. It's really good.
Really good time.
It's 10 episodes and it's just like the story and then it's done.
It's about a writer and all that. Is that the one I'm thinking of? Yeah. Okay, cool. He writes about his family or something like that.
Yeah, and they have a dysfunctional family and they haven't talked in years and everything. And then there's a reason for them all to come back together. And that's kind of what's going on in here as well. Although it doesn't seem like they necessarily hate each other or anything, but that they all kind of just like went their own ways. They decided to do their own thing. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we have all the characters kind of get back together for the first time. That's when we find out that the mom is a dummy.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to see what else is here. Well, is this where we see what's going on with 5, or is that not yet?
That doesn't come in until issue 4 and 5.
Oh, okay. Well, then
because issue 4 is where I think he gets ambushed in the coffee shop.
That's right.
In fact, I have the. Let me see. Yeah, thank you for the coffee. That's issue 5.
Okay, well let's wait till we get there. The big thing in 2 is the Verdammten, the orchestra of Verdammten.
Yeah,
we're introduced to this like I don't know, like chaotic entity. There's this conductor who's got like a skull mask.
Yeah, and
they want to destroy the world by using music, essentially, right?
Yeah.
They're going to create like an orchestra
that's going to destroy the world.
You don't know how, but they're going to do it.
Yeah.
And they're trying to recruit 7.
Mm-hmm.
And at first she's pretty against it, I guess. She doesn't want to necessarily do that. There's a really cheesy thing in 2 where 7's playing the violin, and then there's like a little staff that comes out. The notes come out, and then it like spells out violin on the staff.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, it's like really cheesy. It's
I gotta check that out again.
It's really lame. I don't know. That was my only like big gripe with the book. I was like, oh, this.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Something else. You know?
I'm just being picky, I think. For those of you who don't know, I mentioned it way more on We Did a Podcast. I don't think I've mentioned it at all on this podcast, but I'm an orchestra teacher. Mm-hmm. So I like teach violin every day. So I thought it was really interesting to see like a comic book that's so orchestrally based. There's so many orchestral references. Her bow hold is okay, though. That's the only thing. I was looking at that. I was like, how are these guys going to draw this bow hand? It's all right. It's not the best.
It's actually cool because when I was in orchestra, that's when I started reading this book.
You were in orchestra? That's hilarious.
Yeah, I played upright bass in orchestra.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. Oh, I knew that. Frank used to play viola a long time ago, like in middle school, which really cracks me up.
I want to see pictures of that.
Yeah,
Frank with viola. And that's what's cool. I mean, both of us being musicians, it's getting those music references. I think that made it that much more entertaining, and you know, blending that into the comic book world and superheroes. I was like, oh, you guys pulled that off. Because in DC, you have like Music Maestro and ridiculous, corny stuff like that.
Oh, okay,
and you're
just like too much.
And I was like, get away. But this was cool. It was a really cool representation, and I thought the white violin. I thought she looked awesome.
Yeah,
that design for that character was just
that one is cool. Yeah, and you can see a little bit of that back there on issue 4.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, good stuff. Okay, let's keep going. What happens in 3? Why don't you tell us about issue 3?
First mention.
Wait, I'm sorry, I'm going to interrupt you one more time. We're reunited. And with the characters, and it's kind of hopping back and forth between the orchestra, Verdammten, and everything. Mm-hmm. But we also have 5 coming back. All we know is that 5 is traveling through time, and 5 catches up to meet with everyone. Mm-hmm. But then that's when we find out that there's only 3 days left before the end of the world, and that's like the big prophecy. Also, again, like kind of very similar to Watchmen, like a literal doomsday clock, which really cracks me up. I don't know. Very true. There's a lot of interesting little Watchmen things going on in here. Anyway, what you tell us about 3? I've been talking a whole bunch.
In Watchmen related because we read so much of it.
I guess so, right? Yeah. You read so much Watchmen, you just see it everywhere. It's like that number 27 movie.
Yeah, seriously. Something else was the titles of each issue that caught my attention, and how he blended the titles into the dialogue. The first one was The Day the Eiffel Tower went berserk.
Yeah.
And then we have Why We Only See Each Other at Weddings and Funerals, which I thought that was a cool name.
Which also sounds like a My Chemical Romance song.
Yeah, it does. It really does. Yeah. Dr. Terminal's Answer. Probably the lamest of the titles.
Yeah, that one is kind of lame.
But And then Baby, I'll Be Your Frankenstein.
That one's good.
That was
Also
cool.
a My Chemical Romance song.
Yeah. Thank You for the Coffee. I like how they blended it in on that one specifically because it was the waitress speaking.
Retelling the story.
Yeah. And then she's like, and all he said was, thank you for the coffee.
Yeah.
And it was like the Borges next time. And then Finale or Brothers and Sisters, I Am an Atomic Bomb.
Yeah.
Once again, very My Chemical Romance.
My Chemical Romance thing. Well, what's cool about the titles too is every time you get to a title page, it's always a 2-page spread. Yeah. Like the title page is always this big, huge like
scene and everything.
Scene where you get to see everything. So it's really cool. It's got a very like cinematic quality to it.
But figuring out Five's backstory, I thought was interesting. How he went in the future and he aged to like be 60 years old, and then he figured it out because he's hearing a voice and he's like, it didn't carry the 2. Like, I meant to tell you 12 years back, but I forgot. You know what I mean? It's like, what? Like, and then he goes back and he's 10 years old again. Yeah. But he has all his memories and knowledge of a 60-year-old man.
And this is what gives me hope because they do explain that in book 2 in Dallas. When I was reading through it, I didn't get through the whole thing yet, but they give you some explanation. I mean, we don't have to go into what goes on in Dallas right now, but that lets me know that, hey, Gerard Way is going to kind of explain some of these things.
Do they explain that in Dallas?
Yeah, they do. They tell you why he comes back as a kid, like instead of coming back as an old man.
Okay.
Which is pretty cool.
Nice. I got to retouch that once we talk about it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we'll get into it.
Issue 4, I thought, every issue I felt kind of got weirder and weirder.
Yeah, I guess more and more bizarre.
Yeah, more stuff is getting thrown at you. But I think even the death of the conductor was probably one of my favorite scenes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, when she becomes the white violin and then she just plays a note and it just shatters him. Like,
well,
that was great.
To put it into context, at the end of 3, number 2, who's Kraken?
Yes, yeah.
Right? The Nightwing guy.
Yeah.
He decides that he's trying to change the future, knowing this like prophecy. Mm-hmm. So he's trying to get Seven like away from them and tell Seven the same thing that the dad was always saying, that she's useless, she's got no abilities, we don't need her here. And that decides to finally is the breaking point. She takes off, goes back to the orchestra Verdammten, and says, hey, I will join you all, because they were looking for a violinist. She becomes the white violin, and then, she plays a couple notes and, like, explodes this guy's head, essentially.
And takes over the orchestra.
The orchestra. Yeah. She's the new concert master.
Yeah. Which is cool.
So super cool.
Yeah.
So cool. And just like you, dude, I was not expecting that.
Right?
I was like, what? Wait,
what? And that's so pleasing in a book like this. A book that you really have mixed, like, walking into it, you're just like, it's My Chemical Romance, it's Gerard Way, like, and but then it's so good. Like, there's moments that surprise you and that keep you asking questions after every issue, And
just like in Watchmen, they have. No, I'm just joking. It's great. It's great.
At least it was only half as long as Watchmen.
That's true. And you know what else too? Like,
I do like it was only 6 issues.
Watchmen is thick. Like, you read it and you're really like reading. Every page is filled with text.
It takes a while to finish an issue.
In this thing, I feel like it's a very casual read. So much of it is told through like story panels. And
the art blends so well with the characters, the story itself. Like, I couldn't picture another artist doing this.
No, it's great. And there's all these like good oranges and like reds, a lot of strong black, like good inking. Yeah. And it's just very vibrant. It's
and
very
I want to
rich.
say Gabriel Ba does all of it.
I don't
remember seeing it.
I don't remember seeing any other names.
No. I'm pretty sure it's just Gabriel Ba.
That's so cool, man. I'm super
And then
impressed.
they have a separate cover artist for the series, but that was the only difference.
There's one other thing too. Right before she kills the conductor, the monkey tells Seven, because she's so upset, Pogo says, you don't need to destroy things to prove yourself. And then again, when I read that
flashback scene,
when I read that little bit of dialogue, I was like, oh, okay, again, she's like the villain, sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And we'll get into that in this next little one, but
issue 5 was a touching issue because Pogo's death.
Yeah. So,
which was another cool panel.
Yeah, it really was.
Like, his brains being blown out.
It's disgusting.
Awesome artwork.
And it's number 7 who kills him. So after Pogo gives the warning, you don't have to destroy things, then Pogo ends up killing him. Or otherwise, sorry.
Yeah.
Seven ends up killing Pogo.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's a little poetic, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? The one who was giving you the warning is the one that you heard. At the beginning of that issue, though, 5 is getting, I guess, approached in this diner with Pogo, like before they die.
Mm-hmm.
Or before Pogo dies. And that's when they kill all these. That's when they kill all of these different like guards at once in this diner. And the diner's like disgusting. You don't get to see it. Like you see at the end of 4, like the setup.
Yeah.
And then the beginning of 5, you just see like the aftermath.
Gore. Yeah.
Gore everywhere. And then you have like this woman, the waitress, like and that's where we get this title thing from.
Yeah.
But they're describing that that scene, and it's just it's pretty gruesome.
It's pretty cool. Yeah. And just thinking of like they see a 10-year-old kid just destroying these alien bizarre time police dudes.
Yeah, and he's like the 5, he is a little kid, he's 10, but he's also like in a school uniform.
Mm-hmm.
So he looks even more like unassuming.
Yeah.
And then like on top of that, the book itself is very like it looks very child friendly, like from a distance.
Yeah.
The character design looks like little kid characters, maybe something aimed at adolescents. But then you get into like the violence in it, and it's very graphic. Yeah. So it's
100%. You even see Kraken after like the first fight when they go back to the academy, and he's all bandaging himself up and he's all beat up. Also, Kraken and the Commissioner Gordon guy.
Oh yeah.
Right away I was like, oh, this is the Gotham. He's trying to do the Batman thing.
You've looked the other way a lot of times on our crimes because you know what we're doing is what needs to be done.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, man, okay.
Yeah. Come on. Yeah. All right, Nightwing.
Yeah.
Evil Nightwing. Kind of the Titans version of Robin is what we got from Kraken.
Oh yeah, I guess so. I haven't seen Titans yet, but I've heard stories of his Robin. But there's also, well, I don't want to like get in a whole other conversation, but there's both Robins in Titans, right?
Yeah, Tim Drake and
Dick Grayson. Yeah, that's really cool.
No,
or Rick
Grayson.
Jason
Todd and
Jason Todd. Yeah. Sorry, Jason Todd.
I hope they put Tim in that. That'd be cool.
Yeah, that would be.
Anyways, that's a different topic.
Yeah, that's another thing.
But still, none of this volume touched up on some of the questions of like Ben, more. Seance's power gets really seen finally.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we also get that kiss.
Yeah, the kiss. Yeah.
Yeah. Where basically
Rumor pours her heart out, tells him how bad her life has been, and then she's like, I've always loved you, Space Boy.
Yeah. Yeah. But then also like it's a little weird because yes, they're not brother and sister.
But they were raised
as brother and sister since they were born. Yeah. So that's a little creepy.
I thought that was a little weird too.
It's a little weird. Yeah. You can't exactly look the other way on that.
But anything else up to issue 5? Because issue 6 is pretty crazy.
6 is also just like jam-packed.
Yeah.
I think the book does a pretty good job of keeping the pacing up until now. Mm-hmm. It's slowly showing all these different stories. Although I have to say, I think some of the characters are a little underutilized. Like Space Boy, for instance. You don't really get to see a lot of action from him. You see this big character. Use your iPhone to search the web. Wow. But you don't get to see exactly, what he's capable of, I guess, at least fully. This story really is about 5, and because you get the most from that little time travel background, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
And then 7, of course. 7's got a ton of stuff.
Focus on those two.
Yeah. And there's good stuff with the other characters as well, but
I feel like he had number 5, and he's like, I just want to do everything with this guy.
Yeah.
He seems
he's the main one. The main character. Yeah, I was going to say too.
It's not who you expect, which is Space Boy. Mm-hmm. I figured it would all be about Space Boy and number 1, but I mean, the fact that this kid kind of takes over the show is super fun.
That is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Well, let's look at the last issue. So in issue 6, we kind of have the finale. Mm-hmm. Basically,
where they approach her to stop the... And there's a lot of comic book time jumps. Like, they don't take you moment to moment. Like, they find out what's going on, and all of a sudden they're infiltrating.
Yeah, that's true.
Like it just jumps right.
We're just here. Yeah, here we are. Because the audience knows what the setup is. The reader gets what's going on, so they don't bother kind of like wasting anyone's
You're
time.
Not questioning,
but it's not
like,
janky.
Hey, what are they doing now? It's like, it just picks right back up. Like, but what goes on in this issue?
During the attack, Rumor loses her voice.
She gets cut.
She gets cut by White Violin, which is 7.
Yeah.
And they're like, she's like bleeding out almost.
And then
she's
Space
like holding
Boy's
her throat.
I need
Space
to
Boy,
like get her to safety, and they're like, "No, Space Boy, we need you." And he's like, "No," and he takes her to the hospital.
Yeah, he bails, which is kind of interesting too. That Rumor loses her voice, like Rumor's kind of like gossipy.
Yeah.
Oh, which I guess. Oops, sorry. That's like a minor spoiler for Dallas. I guess.
I mean, if you read this issue,
but they don't tell you, do they? Do they tell you at the end of this one that she's lost her voice?
I want to say so.
Maybe. Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if it was like a cliffhanger.
And then you're kind of because in Volume 2, you jump into it and you're kind of like, why is she writing in a notepad? And then you're like, oh, she lost her voice.
She lost her voice. Yeah. Her vocal cords got severed, so they end up saving her, but she'll never talk again. Yeah. She
doesn't have her power anymore, basically.
That too. Yeah, which is even sadder if you think about it.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see what they do with that.
I'm curious to see how. I mean, Volume 1, Rumor's already lost her voice and her power.
Mm-hmm.
How are they going to do that in the show? Like after season 1, she's not going to speak anymore.
Oh, I guess right. Yeah.
Like unless they postpone that and they build this up, we'll find out.
We'll have to see. What were you gonna say?
Seance's power in this one, a little confusing. You can't have to really pay attention to what's going on and be like, oh, like for me, I thought it was like that's obviously not Sir. What's his name? Reginald, yeah. And but like right away, it's just like he falls for it, and she's like, "Father, like you're here, you didn't die."
Yeah.
And so I don't know.
It's kind of like bringing people back.
Yeah, I guess he speaks to them.
Or in a weird, like summoning them, like a seance. You know what I mean? Like bringing the spirit back. Yeah.
And, like they live through his body for a minute. Yeah. Maybe that's why he does so many drugs, because he has so many dead people going through. And even then he mentions how many, he says that he's been rolling on speed and everything. Like,
for like 2 or 3 days, which I thought was like a weird line.
Yeah.
It just kind of comes out of nowhere. I'm like, whoa, dude.
Yeah.
Calm down, bro. You should eat some stuff.
Yeah.
Just eat some food or something. Get a good night's rest.
Barefoot and just floating. And he just floats, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
cool. They have these floating belts too.
The levitators.
There we go. Which I thought was kind of it was just a funny little detail. Yeah. These guys don't fly. They have belts.
Like, yeah. And that's cool. I like how it looks like in the drawings, how it's like bubbly around them and everything. But this one we have not the death of the white violin, but she's severely
damaged. They show up, the team shows up to fight. And 2, Kraken kind of sneaks up with a knife behind the throat. Yeah. Ready to, hey, everyone, stand down from this thing because their music is going to destroy the world.
Yeah.
And then they brought Igor Stravinsky with them.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
They brought Comrade Stravinsky along just to they say to play Rite of Spring in a very specific tempo. Yeah. Like they're going to battle this music with music.
Yeah.
Which I thought was hilarious.
That was cool.
That's so funny. Cool. Yeah. And Rite of Spring's also like super metal. It's like the as heavy metal as you can get in classical music. So I thought that was just like an interesting touch. Also, their Stravinsky drawing is so cool. He's just great. He's just like upset and like in his big coat. He just looks super angry. I thought that was a hilarious detail.
Yeah.
It also though it might give you a hint because Stravinsky died in 1974, maybe. I feel like it's the 70s.
Oh wow!
I used to know this. We'll have to look it up right now. We'll see if I'm right when we look up the trailer. But that gives us a hint as to when the book takes place.
Yeah.
I don't know when the JFK assassination was. It was the 60s, right?
Yeah.
So this whole thing could take place in the 60s or 70s. Which is interesting. We'll have to look that up and see what's going on.
Definitely.
But yeah, they end up stopping White Violin. They what happens again? Do they shoot her? She takes a hit to the head. And
it misses something in her brain by a millimeter.
Yeah, it misses like the brain. It's like kind of like one of those like nick things.
Yeah, but it messes her up enough to where she doesn't remember who she is or what she's doing or anything.
Have amnesia.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they're gone. That's it. That's pretty much it. That's the end of the first volume.
A lot goes on.
A lot does.
And, it's not overpacked with dialogue. It's not overpacked with caption boxes or anything. It's a very fluid, you just go and it just flows and it's a good story. And, 6 issues, you kind of tear right through it. For a casual reader that wants something, I definitely recommend it.
Yeah, I think it's very accessible because you get everything you need to know.
And you don't need to know any other background story.
I think if you like My Chemical Romance and you like the aesthetic that the band provides, you're going to see a similar art style.
Yeah.
You can kind of see where like His themes kind of carry over, a lot of loss.
Yeah.
If you're a 15-year-old girl in high school and you're trying to get into comic books, couldn't be a terrible place to start.
Great place to start.
I think, well, that makes it sound like I'm making fun of it. It's really good. If you're an orchestra nerd, I think it also is just kind of funny just because the white violin. If you're like, if that's a weird crossover like myself, comics and orchestra, then I think it's definitely, you have to read it then. Yeah, I would definitely recommend it. I think it's going to be interesting to see
how they TV.
How they translate to TV and how this story kind of finishes or develops. And I'm wondering if they're planning on going on forever or if Gerard Way has an endpoint in mind.
Recent interviews, he was saying 7 or 8 volumes is planned.
Like he's planned out or that he's like going to end it. You know what I mean? Because like, I don't know if this is a story that could go on forever. It feels like...
I don't feel like it could.
The driving force is like the mystery. You know what I mean? Once everything's been revealed...
You're pretty much done.
I don't know what's going to happen. I'm excited to talk about Dallas because I did do some reading about it. And there is some cool stuff. We get these like assassin characters to show up.
Which is... let's watch the trailer. We could talk about it then.
Yeah, let's watch the trailer because we do know that someone shows up who might not like... Well,
let's find out. I don't remember the trailer at all.
So we've never done this before on any of the podcasts, but essentially what we're going to do right now, we're going to watch the Netflix trailer.
The one that's 2 minutes and 12 seconds.
Yeah, Umbrella Academy official trailer HD. And then if you're watching this on YouTube, if you're watching this podcast, I'll rip the video and lay it on top so you can like watch it in real time with us.
Yeah, sounds good.
For our first ever trailer reaction video. Kind of. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah. Trailer response.
Yeah, we won't be like, whoa.
But we'll be like, oh.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Trailer reactions are way too much, man.
and by the way, we're about to start it in 3, 2, 1. $1989.
It's good, Reginald.
Yeah.
Yeah.
6?
Yeah.
Whoa. Good Reginald for sure. 17 years later.
Does anyone wish to speak? He was a monster. Everything about our family's insane. It always has.
I think that's supposed to be Space Boy.
Yeah, it's Space Boy.
Is that my skirt?
Oh, yeah, that's
Seance.
wavy on the bits. Nice to see nothing's changed.
5.
I jumped forward and got stuck in the future. You know what I found?
I guess 7.
Absolutely nothing. When is it supposed to happen? In 8 days. Oh, shit. There's someone out there who's trying to stop me from preventing the apocalypse.
Oh, wow.
We need the full force of the Academy.
Bingo.
Hey, sisters.
Kraken, I guess, right?
Mm-hmm. With Rumor.
Is this My Chemical Romance, the song?
No, this is I'll tell you now.
Okay.
Save the world. Oh, is that all?
Wow, wait, let's pause it on that last scene. Oh, there's more. Is there more? So 12 seconds.
It's going to give you the...
Oh,
Oh,
then
wow.
I want to pause on
It's
that
just-
scene where we see all of them.
There we go.
Dang it.
Dang. We're getting real-time...
So we have Rumor, Space Boy, Seance, Kraken, and
7.
7.
So we're missing 5 in that shot.
Yeah.
So it seems like the horror is just not even mentioned.
Well, maybe they cut the horror just because it's not fleshed out in the comics at all so far. Maybe Gerard doesn't even know what to do with the horror yet.
What if Gerard just drops it?
I don't think he could drop it from the comics, though.
I mean, could he not? Could he just be like, yeah, horror died?
Could horror come back, like in the show, and be like a missing children that he didn't get? Or
I mean, I
maybe
guess they
hidden
could.
away.
It's still possible.
Or maybe he transported somewhere. He looks like interdimensional, you know?
I think it's interesting that Space Boy, while we don't know if he's going to be a gorilla person, in every scene they've shown in the trailer, he's wearing a big trench coat.
Yeah, like it's covering
So-
his like gorilla body.
So maybe they will show it, but it's going to be mostly hidden. It's going to be like
Yeah.
one of those, like, I don't know, just a little trick of TV so
Yeah.
that they don't
They
have
got
to have like
not
an
CGI,
a CGI gorilla body
because they
every
already
episode.
got that CGI monkey going on.
Yeah.
which is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure a monkey's cheaper than a whole gorilla
And
sci-fi body.
The monkey looks okay. Well, I think it's easier to make one CGI monkey than try and convince like a CGI gorilla body with a human real head on top. That looks ridiculous.
That does.
You know what I mean?
looks
Like the other way
great.
around wouldn't be that bad.
Yeah, that's true.
Ellen Page is 7. I think that's interesting. I don't think Ellen Page necessarily looks like 7.
I don't think she's tall enough.
Yeah, she's not quite tall enough. I'm
Yeah.
also, well, just so you know, when 7 becomes the white violin,
Yeah,
her outfit her body turns pure white,
yeah,
and she's technically like not wearing any clothes. It's like if
like-
she was in a skin tight white like latex suit,
Yeah.
and there's like a
the strings, going down her
strings
body.
and fingerboard going down
yeah.
her body.
and she has the F holes and everything.
Yeah, like on like her ribs, I guess, or
Yeah.
whatever. She looks like an upright bass, I guess,
Yeah, right,
on a
yeah.
person. But Ellen Page, well, first off, I don't see Netflix doing that costume.
No,
It's too much.
but it would look so. How
It
would it
looks-
look cool?
I don't know if it would either. That's the
Yeah.
other thing. It could look really cool if they pulled it off.
Yeah,
I just don't, even more though, I don't see Ellen Page pulling it off. I mean, I could be wrong.
she could surprise us.
Yeah.
but I feel like they went with somebody boring and simple, like how
Yeah.
they take 7 to be. But Ellen Page is too boring and simple to make
Maybe.
interesting later.
Well, it seems like Ellen Page is also our star power of the show.
Yeah,
So we're going to be seeing a lot of 7. I
Mhm.
bet just from the fact that she's the only actress in here who's anyone.
yeah.
At least from what
And we're seeing
I
them
can see.
banded together with her more often than we did in the comics right away.
Well, I'm just like in the Watchmen movie when they had to make the Watchmen movie more of an action story than the Watchmen comic book.
Yeah.
We're going to see the same thing in Umbrella Academy.
Mhm.
There's going to be more action of them as kids fighting in crime, and then they're going to band together quicker as adults because they need to show the Avengers style team up.
Yeah.
Because that's what people really want.
Yeah.
I don't know if Gerard Way's book, as it's written, translated to screen, I don't know if that's going to be successful.
Yeah, I could see that 100%.
They
'Cause
got to
it's-
make big changes.
Yeah, huge changes.
I think Kraken. Wait, is this Kraken?
Yeah, it's cracking.
Kraken looks whatever. He looks a lot older to me
Hmm.
than the rest of the cast.
I wish he kept the domino mask the whole time, though.
Yeah, that's
They
a
look
big
cool
thing
on the
that's
kids.
kind of missing. It does look cool on the kids.
With the wide eyes and everything.
Uh-huh.
That's one of the first time we've seen that in superhero stuff in general.
That's interesting. And that's always in comic books, but we never see it in movies.
You know, like as Robin, you always
Yeah.
see his eyes still when it should have those wide eyes. They look like Dr. Manhattan's eyes.
Keep them coming. Keep them. Okay. Who else do we have here? Seance. Seance seems
Seancey.
seancey. Is Seance as flamboyant in
Yeah.
the book?
A little
Maybe
bit,
I
yeah.
didn't read it as much. Like it pays close attention. I think Seance is a good casting, though. I can see that character.
I can see that for sure. And I think it translates really well to if he walks around barefoot, I'm sold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Space Boy is
It reminds
very.
me of Durf.
Space Boy's big. Yeah, I can see that. It does, our buddy David. It does kind of remind. Yeah, I can see that for sure. Space Boy seems like the hero. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I'm the big tough guy, and I think that actor looks like he's going to portray it well.
Yeah. I think he looks
Yeah.
to the part.
Rumor, I'm not. I feel like what is Rumor's like defining characteristic? I'm trying to think about it.
She's a woman.
She's just a woman.
I guess, yeah. Because, I mean, you don't get to go too deep into
Yeah.
her as a character, but, she is not just too close to the family
Yeah.
or not wanting to be a part of it too much. She had her own life, and it didn't work out for her, and this is, like, all she has now.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I guess you could translate that. It doesn't matter what ethics, what anything, you know what I mean? Like, I think she'll fit. She looks all right.
And in the comic book, Rumor's white, isn't she?
Yeah.
I think they've changed. They've made Rumor either like Hispanic or African American. I'm not sure. To be honest, kind of hard to tell.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Although
her
in this
hair-
story, I think it makes sense. If they're born in all
Yeah.
different parts of the world, they wouldn't all
It
be
should be
like
all mixed up.
7 little white kids. It
Yeah,
would be
yeah.
like all kinds of different ethnicities.
Hmm.
So that's cool.
That's cool.
That is pretty cool.
Her hair looks cool. I mean, Rumor's hair was purple and black, so I mean, just doing something different with it to make her stand out works. I think
That's right.
You know,
Rumor looks in the comic book looks like the kind of teenage girl who would listen to My Chemical Romance.
Yeah,
How
definitely.
funny is that?
Yeah. He's just like, who can I base this off of?
So-
All the little girls spreading rumors about me.
All the I'm just gonna borrow this real quick. So the trailer also said 1989.
89,
Excuse me, I had a little burp.
and that's where it currently takes place.
Well, 89 is when the kids are born.
Oh,
Then it says 17 years later. So the story takes place in 2006
oh,
here.
which I don't feel like that's accurate to the comics.
I don't think so either. Let me see. Oh, I'm so sorry, Frank. Frank was just lecturing us about not talking directly into the mic, and then I leaned away in front of the mic. Stravinsky died in 1971.
Oh,
So there, I mean, I doubt, I highly doubt that Gerard Way was like, well, I got to make sure I'm historically accurate. Like I could see him not having to do that. Are you looking up when it is?
I want to look up the first issue.
And then maybe at the beginning of the issue we'll get a little bit more. So while you're looking this up, a couple observations about the trailer. They show the two kind of antagonists from the second
Ooh, yes.
series.
And that's how they're going to really expand it and be like, oh,
Yeah.
that's what's...
Which I'm hoping that they just don't run through the source material too quickly. That's the only thing I'm hesitant on. Because if they're showing the trailer for season 1 and they're already doing the first 2 volumes, like volume 3 is barely going to be out finished by the time that season 1's done. So they're going to have to start shooting ahead of time already, which I think is what happened to the Showtime Outcast show. Or it wasn't Showtime, it was Stars or something. I mean, that show didn't have a big audience too, but I think that could be like a potential issue maybe.
Yeah.
Running out of source material. I'm just also hoping, it seems to me, and I could be totally wrong, it seems like they're just dropping the white violin thing.
Well, you know what? I think they're really expanding this
Do you think so?
the book instead of
Maybe taking more time to get there?
yeah,
Okay.
because it looks like they're not going to get there. It looks like we're going to get to the end of the world, but not. Then season 2 will give us the white violin and more of. I think they're mixing volume 1 and 2, and just really caking it out.
I could see that. Do a little bit of both and hope that it makes one good long issue or long season. Well, I'm optimistic. I mean, I'll definitely check it out. The Umbrella Academy show comes out this month, or is it
February 15th?
February 15th? That's right around the corner.
Yeah.
So that'll be good. I'm wondering, like, it depends on how Netflix advertises it. I don't see Umbrella Academy having the name that, you know, other comic book series have, like the kind of pull that it has. But the cool thing about Netflix is so many people have it. You can watch it whenever you want. And, you know, for the most part, like, you don't have to pay additionally for it. Yes, you have to pay for a Netflix subscription, but it's like, for instance, Bird Box. Bird Box went, you know, so many people watched that movie. It wasn't even that great of a movie. If you had to pay $10 to see Bird Box in theaters, it would not have done nearly as well, or not as many people would have seen it. But because there's just this almost free access point for most people, Umbrella Academy could become really popular.
Good.
It could be pretty, and it also seems like, you know, Netflix is completely separating themselves from all their Marvel shows. I mean, the only thing that hasn't been canceled yet is Punisher, and it seems like inevitably that it will.
because I'm hearing that season 2 didn't do too well.
Oh, really? Well,
There's no revelation of what year it starts, but it does say 20 years later from that. But
Okay.
we do have a cool little breakdown of characters, and I think you will really enjoy this.
oh, at the beginning of the issue?
Yeah, did you see this?
Yeah, this
Yeah.
one's cool. They have and I don't know if you noticed this, almost every issue has a little breakdown at the beginning.
Oh, I read it in the graphic novel form. I'm not
Oh,
too sure. I
interesting.
haven't done issue through issue before.
So the graphic novel probably cuts that out.
yeah.
That's really cool. On the first page of the regular book, every issue gives you a breakdown of the characters in a different way.
Really?
Like sometimes it's a little quote from them. There's always like a little picture. It's got the name and the number, which was really helpful at the beginning.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, it's definitely worth thumbing through, and it's got
Yeah.
great artwork every time it shows
Really?
up. It's like it does its own different thing.
What do you know?
So yeah, this is where you get a ton of good stuff to help you kind of figure out where you're at with these guys. Number 7, no discernible talents, some enthusiasm for music, but mediocre skill, can hardly even hobble through a Paganini caprice, utterly useless.
I love that.
That is so harsh.
Yeah, but you're
That's
right.
great.
How they bring in the characters from Volume 2, Hazel and Cha-Cha.
Hazel and Cha-Cha,
Yeah. And I think those animal head assassinator, assassins. There you
The
go. Thank you.
assassinator.
I was like, I'm almost there. Yeah, Hazel and Cha-Cha. I think, yeah, I mean, it's preventing number 5 from stopping the end of the world.
Mhm.
So maybe they're hired on. Do they mention who hires them in Volume 2, don't they?
Yeah, you're like one issue away from what we were talking about
I was
earlier.
just thinking that.
In the next issue, there's big revelations where you kind of learn about everything.
Nice.
Like
okay.
what 5 is, what Hazel is it Hazel?
Hazel,
Hazel
yeah.
and Cha-Cha. What really cracks me up, and I'm sure we'll get into it more when we touch on all of Dallas, but there's a ton of Pulp Fiction references with those two characters.
Oh, so much. Right away.
And there's like literal like scenes from Pulp Fiction recreated, but with the two of them.
Yeah. I noticed on some of the artwork that,
yeah.
some very key poster moments, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really cool.
I know, and it just gets more bizarre in Volume 2. The weirdness just cranks up.
All right.
Yeah, I felt it did from what I was reading.
From what I've gotten to, I would say so too, but I think they have more. Now the universe is established. That's what Volume 1's all about. It's really the origin story because it's the White Violin continues to be a character.
Yeah.
So really, it's almost like a White Violin origin story, like to let us know how that character starts.
Yeah.
And we see every little step of it. Yeah, it seems like Book 2 is going to really be more open to explore avenues. I'm excited to read Book 3 too. Who knows? I got to see what happens in 2.
I'm really curious. I mean, issue 5 is about to come out first week of February. And then we just have issue 6 left, but I haven't touched Hotel Oblivion at all. And this is a long-awaited series. It's been on hold for like 4 or 5 years, if not more. Yeah. It's been a while since you switched back to it.
I think the original Umbrella Academy was like 2012 or 2013 or something like that.
Something like that.
I remember like
if not
looking it up
earlier.
online. I don't know. Check the Wikipedia. We'd find out for sure. That's some good. We should start giving that information right at the beginning too. Like Umbrella Academy's a 6-part series from this year or something. That might be nice.
Dang, this took. Oh wait. I guess that makes sense. September 19th, 2007 to 2013.
Whoa, that's way later than I thought.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, 2007. Wait, it took that long for the first volume?
I'm wondering if that's just Volume 2.
That's insane.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, because Volume 2 came out in 2008 to 2009.
Okay.
Wow,
when we were in high school. How weird. Well, when I was in high school.
I was in high school.
You're younger, yeah.
Yeah.
We were both in high school then.
And then the first volume was 2007, 2008.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, so just
those
a
were
few
back
months
to back.
later. Yeah, those are pretty back to back. But then Hotel Oblivion, dude, I remember my second Comic-Con that I went to in San Diego. I guess not this year, but the year before, when I met Gerard Way, they were doing signings at Dark Horse for Hotel Oblivion because they announced it finally.
Okay.
And that was, I mean, I've been to a year and a half.
Comic-Cons.
Yeah, like it's been like almost 2 years.
Yeah.
And issue 1 just barely came out November 2018.
Wow.
You know, we're really waiting a while for that series. 2009. Oh wait, Gerard Way announced at the 2009 San Diego Comic-Con that the third series would be entitled Hotel Oblivion. Let me see.
Wow, and then plenty of waiting since then. That's a long time, man.
Yeah, July 21st, 2017, Dark Horse announced Hotel Oblivion would be released in 2018. And then it didn't come out until October 2018.
Wow, that's rude.
Yeah,
that's rude.
That's intense. He jumps so much between his like music and then do comics. I'm do music and do comics.
I'm sure that, maybe the band got busy. Maybe he got busy with some other kind of project.
Break up?
Oh, that's true. I don't know if they were even together during that time, were they?
They broke up shortly.
What were you doing, Gerard Way? Why were you taking so long, man? I don't appreciate it.
It's our fault for not
No, it's
taking
okay.
it.
I wasn't reading. I wasn't reading at the
Dang,
time.
he's 41.
Yeah, he's getting up there.
Yeah.
All the emo boys grow old one day.
Yeah.
Well,
Danger Days came out in 2010, so they broke up sometime
oh yeah.
after that. You know what I mean?
How sad.
He does have another book out called The True Lives of the Fabulous Killjoys.
Oh, that's
and
right.
That's tied into the My Chemical Romance album.
Well, and that's probably what's going on. He's just spent more time on this, which, spend time on it. Do it right.
They broke up in 2013.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
Well,
And then he released a solo album years later. And
they weren't putting anything out too spectacular at that point.
at that point, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Danger Days took years to grow on me.
Yeah.
Years.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm still not crazy about it. Yeah.
Yeah. I like it now.
Well, I mean, you like them all. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
You like a band. You get into everything, at least a little bit.
Yeah. But I mean, it's a fun book. I'm glad they're putting it into a TV series. Honestly, it should be an animated series.
That would be kind of cool. Yeah, I could see that.
I don't see why everything
I
has
could
to
see
be
that.
live action now.
Well, it's what's expected, I guess.
Cheaper too, I'm sure.
I don't know about that.
Really?
Yeah, for sets and
I guess the way they do
compared to
it.
just
I
hiring
guess time-wise,
animators.
they could pump them out faster than they could in an
Yeah,
animated series.
that might be true.
Mhm.
I don't know. To be honest, I don't know. I don't know what the turnaround on animation is.
I don't know anymore
I
because
guess it
whenever I
depends
hear
on how
about
much it
turnarounds
is.
on animation, they're like, "Yeah, Batman the Animated Series started in 1990 and didn't come out until 2 years later. I didn't know what I was doing."
Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's kind of scary.
2 years just to be like, well, we have a couple episodes.
Well, if Rick and Morty's any showing,
Oh,
but those
yeah.
guys are just unorganized.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah. Good stuff though.
Yeah, man.
Really good stuff.
Well-
I'm excited to see where we take it. I'm excited to see how we answer it, and
Yeah,
we will see what questions get answered in Volume 3
yeah.
and Volume 2.
We'll have to give some impressions in the show too once that's
Yeah.
out. So we'll do our reading and get into it. We're doing Doom Patrol. No. Which one are we doing next?
Doom Patrol or Part 2 of Umbrella Academy.
I don't know. It's up to you, I guess. Well, we'll figure out.
We'll figure out.
Read Umbrella Academy Dallas and read Doom Patrol 19 to 34.
The Grant Morrison run. Yeah.
The Grant Morrison
And
run.
that's just to get in preparation of the TV show coming out because I know they're pulling really heavily from the Grant Morrison series.
Okay.
And it's just fun reading. If you read the first, what is it, 15 issues of Doom Patrol that Grant Morrison did, you'll get a really good feel of the characters and just how weird and crazy it could be.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And we're just doing weird stuff right now.
Yeah. Yeah, we are doing some weird things. We'll see how much Doom Patrol has to do with Watchmen. We'll find out soon.
Oh, yeah, we will.
right.
There's some insights. Reading list?
Reading list.
What have you been up to, David?
Well,
What are you reading? What are you watching? What are you listening to?
man, I'm not reading anything else but Umbrella Academy right now. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I've even read. I don't think so. TV wise too, I feel like I'm all caught up. I've been watching Series of Unfortunate Events.
I heard
And
that's really good.
It's finally ending too.
Oh, really?
It's only 3 seasons, but it's every book. So I don't know. I'd recommend that show. I think it's aimed at kids, but it's very witty. It's very clever, and the performances are hilarious. So there's good times to be had.
Yeah.
Man, other than that, I've just been pretty much reading what we've been going on here. I just got Resident Evil 2. We just finished playing it for the channel.
Oof.
It's a spooky
I
one.
have to pee again because I was so scared.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
you were scared.
I was.
like a little girl.
Terrified.
What about you? You got anything for the pull list this week?
No.
It's been busy, right? It's been a busy couple weeks.
It's been
man.
a busy couple. I mean, classes started for you because you're teaching. Classes started for me because I'm a student. I just got an apartment, dude. I haven't done anything.
Yeah,
I'm
oh,
just
yeah.
trying to move in.
Moving's the whole
And,
thing.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And I have a lot of comics. I found out. I have a whole box full of CGC books and comics that aren't in a box, just like loose
Whoa.
books.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Well,
That's-
you never learn until you move, and
I
that's
don't
when
know
you
how I
find out
fit
how you
all
have
this
so much
stuff in a
stuff.
bedroom, dude. Yeah,
That's
it is
impressive.
crazy. You'll see when you come this week. You're gonna be like, wow.
Wow.
We should do a special on my collection
That would be
because
good.
it's so big.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we should.
it'd be fun.
We should.
But what am I gonna jump into? I'm still trying to read Hellboy. I haven't touched it though.
Oh, really?
And I haven't touched Dune.
Every week we'll have that Dune update. We'll check in and see if Brandon's
Still
read
nothing.
any more of Dune.
Yeah.
No, I didn't get to it.
Listening? I haven't done anything. Spider-Man DLC released some more suits. They said,
Yeah.
but they're whatever. I'm not
And
gonna
it's
play it.
and it's no content.
Yeah,
If
no
you've already beaten the
content.
game, if you haven't beaten it yet, then yeah, swing around with a paper bag on your head.
Yeah.
Um,
Also, key note that
Yeah.
I forgot to mention because I found out right before last episode's podcast,
yeah.
and it was such news that I just forgot about it right
Whoa,
when we started.
I'm excited. What's this news?
They released. DC had said that they're doing a New Gods movie a few months ago.
Oh, okay.
That the girl who did Somewhere Between Time, that Disney movie that just recently
Wrinkle in Time.
A Wrinkle in
Yeah.
Time, that she's going to direct it.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, interesting. I heard that movie was really good. I don't know anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's Disney. I don't touch it. But they said that Big Barda and Mr. Miracle would be the key characters, the key
Whoa.
focus on the New Gods movie. And I think that'd be interesting if they did it
Yeah.
like how they did Mr. Miracle. Like, there's so much of that universe
Mm.
that you need to embellish and learn and dive into, and it has
Yeah.
history upon history, that focusing on two couples and them going into this universe and we
Yeah.
join them to unravel it.
I-
They're
I-
from it. Like,
I could see them using that run that we read too. It seems very filmable, and it's a
Oh,
nice
yeah.
little concise story. Like I
Yeah.
could see them using a lot of influence from that. And I think if they want to make it a successful movie that's going to appeal to people,
you want
it needs
that
to have the
romance.
right character dynamic.
Mhm.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see. That's good. That's good, man.
And also Thaddeus Brown, who was the original Mr. Miracle, who
Okay.
died, and then Scott Free took over his stuff.
Mhm.
He apparently is still alive.
Okay. Well,
And DC's countdown in Detective Comics,
Mhm.
countdown to 1000,
okay.
Batman encounters Thaddeus Brown somewhere. And those are the
Wow.
current two issues out right now. And
Whoa,
that,
what?
that issue just came out this week. So.
Someone who's supposed to be dead in a comic book's not dead?
Right?
Wow, DC.
But, I mean, that's a character they haven't brought back since.
Yeah, that is cool.
Yeah, it's a cool,
You're gonna
nice
bring
little
someone
reach
back.
in. And,
Yeah. Something for the fans.
yeah.
That is really cool.
Yeah, and it brings more awareness to Mr. Miracle.
I think so.
And I'm down for that.
And well, I'm sure they're trying to move that way too. If they're going to plan a movie, they need to.
Yeah.
They need to bump up.
And if they do that
The
movie, I
knowledge.
just hope, if anything, they get that costume right.
Ugh,
I love it.
what a great note to end on.
Love it.
The disgusting costume.
Well, that's it for this week.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for checking it out. Subscribe below. Check out our, what is it, producers or is it channel host? Our production company.
We're just a channel.
Just a channel.
We're just,
David and Frank
We're just some
and beans.
dudes
Just
and some
dudes.
beans.
Dudes and beans. David and Frank and some beans.
Exactly.
Check it out. Check out David Frank and Beans. We have a bunch of other content. We go over
So
games.
much.
We go over movies. We go over just random goofy stuff. If you want to
Yeah.
laugh, if you want to cry, if you want to, just have a good moment with
Okay.
yourself, check out the other videos. Subscribe below. Subscribe to the podcast. And thank you guys. Thank you to All Star Comics. And check out the pull list coming out every single week.
Yeah.
Every Wednesday morning. Check
Every
out
Wednesday
your pull
morning.
list. There you go.
And you got to go edit it.
I got to get home and edit that. Thanks, David.
Yeah. Thank you,
This is
Brandon.
us signing off, and farewell from Apollo City.